Welcome back to my channel, Famous and Fabulous. At 78, Sally Struthers finally tells the truth about Carroll O'Connor. Sally Struthers was born on July 28, 1947 in Portland, Oregon. Her dad was a surgeon named Robert Alden Struthers, and her mum was Margaret Caroline. She grew up with one sister named Sue. Her childhood was shaped by living in a doctor's family where her dad's job as a surgeon was very respected and important. But even though things seemed stable at home, Sally faced a tough time when her dad left the family when she was about 10 years old. This separation really affected her and left her mum to raise two daughters mostly by herself. That experience of early troubles and seeing her mum's strength would later help Sally in her acting, giving her deep emotions that she used in the many roles she played on TV and in theatre. Sally's first steps into show business came in the late 1960s and early 1970s, when she started appearing in small but noticeable roles. She got people's attention with a small but memorable part in the 1970 drama movie 5 Easy Pieces. Even though she wasn't on screen very long, she acted alongside Jack Nicholson, one of the most famous actors back then, and did really well in scenes that needed strong presence and talent. This role was important in her career because it put her in a movie that critics loved right at the start of her acting journey, helping more people in Hollywood notice her. That same year, she also started making a name for herself on TV, appearing on variety shows like the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour and the Tim Conway Comedy Hour. Both shows gave her a chance to show off her funny timing and ability to do different things, which would later become what she was known for. Just 1 year later, in 1971, Sally Struthers got her big break when she joined the cast of the groundbreaking sitcom All in the Family. She was cast as Gloria Stivich, the daughter of Archie and Edith Bunker, and the wife of Michael Meathead Stivich. Sally found herself in a role that made her famous almost overnight. Gloria was a character stuck between her outspoken father Archie's traditional values and her husband's progressive ideas, and she brought both warmth and fiery independence to the part. She played Gloria until 1978, and during that time the show became one of the most important sitcoms in American TV history, dealing with controversial topics like racism, women's rights, and conflicts between different generations. Sally's performance got her lots of praise and firmly established her as a talented actress who could do both comedy and drama. In 1972, Struthers showed her range by taking on a very different kind of role in the crime thriller The Getaway. Starring alongside Steve McQueen and Ali MacGraw, she played the restless wife of a veterinarian, a role that showed she could step outside the funny world of TV sitcoms and into more serious and complex material. The film was a huge box office success, making her even more famous in Hollywood. A few years later, in 1977, she gave another strong dramatic performance in the TV movie Intimate Strangers, where she played a victim of physical abuse. The movie was one of the first to talk about domestic violence on television, and Sally's acting brought attention to a difficult subject, earning her respect as a performer who could tackle challenging and socially important roles. Her connection to the world of All in the Family stayed strong, and from 1982 to 1983, Struthers played Gloria again in the spin-off series Gloria, which focused on her character as a newly single mother, figuring out life on her own. Even though the show only lasted one season, it gave her a chance to keep developing the role that had made her famous. Around this same time, she also became a familiar face on game shows, appearing as an occasional guest on the popular series Win, Lose or Draw, where her humor and lively personality shined through. In the early 2000s, Struthers once again found herself in a beloved TV series when she was cast as Babette Dell in Gilmore Girls. Babette, the quirky, big-hearted, and talkative neighbor in the fictional town of Stars Hollow, quickly became a fan favorite. Struthers played the role with warmth and funny flair, adding depth to the quirky community that made the show so television, moving from 1970s family sitcoms to early 2000s cult favorites. Alongside her screen work, Struthers also enjoyed a successful career in voice acting. She lent her voice to many animated series across the decades, starting with The Pebbles and Bam Bam Show and Fred Flintstone and Friends. Later, she brought her distinctive vocal energy to characters in Disney's Tailspin, the satirical dinosaur-themed sitcom Dinosaurs, the comedic mystery series Droopy Master Detective, and the educational children's show Betsy's Kindergarten Adventures. These projects introduced her to younger audiences and showed her ability to adapt her talent to many different types of media. From primetime sitcoms to Saturday morning cartoons, her stage career was just as exciting. From 1994 to 1998, Struthers starred in the musical Grease at the Eugene O'Neill Theatre, delighting audiences with her comedic timing and musical performance. Afterward, she took on the role of the scheming orphanage matron, Miss Hannigan, in productions of Annie, performing both at the fabulous Fox Theatre and later in the show's national tour. Her performance as Miss Hannigan was especially praised for combining humour with just the right touch of villainy, making her a standout in the classic play. Beginning in the early 2000s, she became a regular performer at the Ogunquit Playhouse in Maine, a theatre known for its high-quality productions and loyal audiences. Throughout the early 2000s, Struthers continued her stage work with appearances in many different productions. She performed in plays like Love Letters, Curtains, Cinderella, Hello Dolly, and The Drowsy Chaperone, showing her versatility across comedy, drama, and musical theatre. In 2012, she starred as Roz Keith in 9 to 5 the Musical, a role that let her tap into her comedic energy once again. From 2015 to 2016, she took on the role of Agnes Gooch in Mame at the Riverside Centre Dinner Theatre, once again proving that she could shine in both comedic supporting roles and larger-than-life stage performances. Sally Struthers experienced a major milestone in her personal life when she married psychiatrist William C. Rader on December 18, 1977 in Los Angeles, California. The wedding was a happy event for the actress, who at that point was already widely known for her Emmy-winning role as Gloria Stivish on All in the Family. Her marriage to Rader brought together two very different professional worlds: her life in the entertainment industry and his career in the medical field. Rader was an established psychiatrist who later became known for his controversial involvement in alternative medical practices. But at the time of their marriage, he was mainly known for his traditional psychiatric work. For Struthers, who had spent much of her early adult life in the public eye, this marriage marked the beginning of a quieter, more private chapter that was different from the glitz and pressures of Hollywood stardom. The couple's marriage soon expanded into parenthood with the arrival of their daughter Samantha Rader, who became the center of Struthers' world. Sally often said motherhood was one of the greatest joys of her life, and the bond she shared with Samantha gave her a sense of purpose that went beyond acting and public recognition. She often talked about how becoming a mother changed her outlook on life, making her more protective, nurturing, and determined to balance her demanding career with her responsibilities at home. For Struthers, Samantha was not only her child, but also her closest companion, and she would later proudly support her daughter's endeavors, including Samantha's own path into psychology and holistic healing. Despite the happiness they once shared, the marriage between Struthers and Rader eventually faced challenges that they couldn't overcome. After a little over 5 years together, the relationship came to an end, and on January 19, 1983, the couple finalized their divorce. The separation was difficult, but Struthers continued to focus on her role as a devoted mother, making sure that Samantha was given a stable and loving environment despite the changes in family dynamics. Although her marriage to Rader hadn't lasted, Struthers kept her independence and strength, putting her energy into raising her daughter while also continuing to pursue her career in television, theatre, and charity work. When Sally Struthers looks back on her career, there is one person who stands out more than almost anyone else: Carroll O'Connor, the man who played her TV father, Archie Bunker, on All in the Family. For decades, audiences have thought of the two together: Sally as Gloria, the headstrong daughter of Archie, and Carroll as the stubborn patriarch who became one of the most talked about characters in TV history. Now at 78 years old, Struthers has begun to open up in detail about the relationship she shared with O'Connor, both on screen and off, and the truth she feels the world should know about him. Carroll wasn't just Archie Bunker, Struthers explained. He was a deeply sensitive, highly intelligent man who had a heart much bigger than people realized. What you saw on TV, that gruff exterior, the sharp tongue, the political arguments, that was acting. In real life, Carroll was thoughtful, gentle, and very protective of the people he cared about. And he cared about me more than I think I even knew at the time. Struthers remembered how when she was first cast as Gloria in 1971, she was nervous about stepping into a groundbreaking show that was already pushing boundaries. I was young, untested in some ways, and the scripts were heavier than anything I'd ever dealt with, she said. Carroll immediately took me under his wing. He never made me feel small. He wanted me to succeed because he understood that Gloria was vital to the story. Not just a daughter, but a new generation challenging Archie's way of thinking. He told me, "You're not just acting, you're speaking for millions of young women out there." That gave me a sense of responsibility I had never felt before. According to Struthers, O'Connor wasn't only a mentor when the cameras were rolling. He was a presence off-set who looked after the cast like family. He would invite me to dinner, check in on me, and he was always concerned about how I was handling the fame, she said. It's easy to forget, but All in the Family became huge overnight. Suddenly, we were on the covers of magazines, in the middle of cultural debates, and it was overwhelming. Carroll noticed whenever I was struggling, and he would quietly remind me that all of this was temporary. The work was what mattered. Struthers also revealed that O'Connor had a playful sense of humour, one that balanced the heavy themes of the show. Carroll loved to laugh, and he loved making other people laugh. He'd tell these long Irish jokes between takes, and sometimes Norman Lear would get frustrated because the set would dissolve into laughter when we were supposed to be serious. But Carroll understood that humour kept us sane. It kept the family spirit alive on set, which is why the show worked so well. It really did feel like a family, even when Archie and Gloria were shouting at each other. One truth Struthers emphasised was how much O'Connor respected women, despite playing a character famous for sexist rants. Archie Bunker might have been dismissive of Gloria and Edith, but Carroll was the exact opposite. He admired Jean Stapleton beyond words and treated me as an equal, even though I was young and learning. He valued our voices and made sure they were heard. I think that's why people were able to love Archie despite his flaws, because Carroll's humanity always came through the character. Struthers grew emotional when speaking about O'Connor's later years and his struggles, especially after the tragic death of his son, Hugh, in 1995. That broke Carroll's heart in a way none of us could fully understand, she admitted. He kept going, he kept acting, but you could see the sadness in his eyes. Even in his darkest moments,